Welcome back to the very confusing let me take care of that. Welcome back to the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports. In the first segment, we talked about Dan Hurley not going to the LA Lakers. In the last segment, we talked about Game 2 between the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks. And now we are switching to segment 3. Let me get that set up quickly. Give me just 1 second. Indiana Fever rookie Caitlin Clark has reportedly been left off the final 12-player USA women's basketball team roster for the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris. The decision was confirmed by USA Today's Christine Brennan and The Athletic. The expected roster, led by Cheryl Reeve, Minnesota Lynx head coach and president of basketball operations, includes notable names like Diana Taurasi, Breanna Stewart, and Aja Wilson. Despite being one of 14 players invited to the U.S. national team's final training camp, Clark did not make the cut. This decision was made by a committee comprising women's college basketball coaches Dawn Staley, Simone Augustus, Delisha Milton-Jones, Jennifer Rosati, who's president of the Connecticut Sun and head coach of the U.S. women's 3-on-3 Olympic team, and WNBA head of league operations Bethany Donovan. The finalized roster features a mix of players with Olympic experience in 5-on-5 and 3-on-3 competitions, with Alyssa Thomas, Kalia Copper, and Sabrina Ionescu set to make their Olympic debuts. The dominance of the USA women's basketball team in previous Olympic tournaments is underscored by their 9 gold medals out of 12 tournaments, including 7 consecutive victories since Atlanta 1996. The absence of Clark from the Olympic roster has sparked discussions about its potential impact on viewer engagement. As argued by Brennan, Clark's inclusion could have mirrored the increased interest and coverage seen in the WNBA. Her absence may leave American sports fans questioning the decision and its implication for the team's visibility. The U.S. women's national team is scheduled to play Team WNBA in the league's All-Star game in Phoenix on July 20th before traveling to London for an exhibition game against Germany on July 23rd. Olympic competition begins on July 29th with Team USA facing Japan, Belgium, and Germany in the opening round play. All right, Caitlin Clark continuing to be in the news and, for lots of interesting reasons.
The thing about it is Caitlin Clark is in the news for all the wrong reasons. And this is no slam on Caitlin. Right. Caitlin has been nothing but professional. But there's been so many things around her that doesn't deal with her on the court. Mm-hmm. Now, with that being said, there's no way they should have left Caitlin Clark off the court, off this team. First off, you go back the last 5 Olympics. The number 1 pick in the draft has always been on the women's Olympic basketball team, with the exception of Caitlin Clark. Now, that alone makes it a noteworthy event that she wasn't picked on the team. I thought that was crazy. The second thing is, and make sure you understand, I am not saying that Diana Taurasi should not be on the Olympic team. That is not what I'm saying. But Caitlin Clark has better numbers than Diana Taurasi. Points, rebounds, assists. No matter every major metric, Caitlin Clark is outperforming Diana Taurasi. No one would question that Diana Taurasi doesn't deserve to be on the team. Traditionally, outside of that top starting unit, you bring that aging vet with you on that Olympic team, and you bring that upcoming star. And I always, the best example is looking at the Dream Team. You brought Kristen Leitner with you. He was the rookie phenom that everyone thought was going to be great. I personally would have had Shaquille O'Neal on there, but they brought the young guy. And then they brought Larry Bird, who had major back issues and should not have been on the Dream Team because of his health issues, but his legacy deemed him to be on there. Same with this. Diana Taurasi should be on the Olympic team, and so should Caitlin Clark. Not to mention that Caitlin Clark wherever she's selling out, they're moving WNBA games from their normal arena to NBA arenas because they're selling out so many games. I think the average WNBA game has about 6,000, and I think it's about 16,000 when Caitlin Clark comes to town. So if it's truly about, hey, we need to get more eyes on the team, then Caitlin Clark should be out there. People are tuning in to see Caitlin Clark, but learning about a number of other players. I was telling Sarah this earlier. I saw it was the Las Vegas Aces versus the LA Sparks. In the past, I wouldn't even watch that game. It was not a game that I would even think, oh, I'm going to watch a WNBA game. But because of Caitlin Clark, I knew some of the players that were on both of these two teams. So I actually watched the game because I learned more about some more of the WNBA players by following and covering Caitlin Clark. So same with Olympic basketball. By having Caitlin Clark there, you're tuning in to see Caitlin Clark, but then you get the chance for the common basketball fan to learn about Diana Taurasi or some of the other players that are playing, and finding out how amazing they are and how great, because the WNBA game is solid. But Caitlin Clark brings those eyes, and it helps lift the entire league up. Overall, since Caitlin Clark's coming to the WNBA, overall television ratings, overall ticket sales, overall jersey sales have gone through the roof. They have skyrocketed. So by having her on the team, it only helps the team. And I know there's been a lot of speculation and a lot of things slipped out that some of the veterans didn't want her on the team because if she was on the team and she wasn't getting a lot of playing time, then it would cause a conflict. That should not be a reason to keep her off because you're worried about how they're going to cover it. Ultimately, it's about making the game and lifting up the game that has struggled for years. Every single year, the WNBA has lost money. Caitlin Clark comes to the WNBA, they're going to make money for the first time in the history of this league. That's the Caitlin Clark effect. I don't care if that she's on a bad team. When you're the number one pick, because that's one of the things people say, she's on a bad team. Well, when you're the number one pick in the draft, you tend to go to a bad team. But she's not a bad player. She is one of the top 14 scorers in the WNBA. She leads all rookies in points. She leads all rookies in assists. That's a woman that's performing, who deserves to be on the Olympic team, and I don't see how they can keep her off. Now, Sarah, as a woman who may not be the biggest WNBA fan, but you've been a Caitlin Clark fan, how do you feel about the fact that she was left off?
I mean, it seems if you're wanting visibility for women's sports, this would be a really good way to do it. And I do think that people are going to wonder why she was left off this team. And unfortunately, it just it's probably going to leave a bad taste in people's mouths, because they do want to know, well, why now? Plus, I feel bad for Caitlin, not because she was left off, although I do, but because this young woman has been in the league for about 30 seconds. And every question she has to answer seems to be about some kind of controversy, not of her doing.
Not of her, and that's the whole point. Not of her doing.
She's a young woman who probably is learning, baptism by fire. She's learning on the fly, but there's no amount of PR training that could have prepared her for all of these things. She said she's not disappointed that she's not on the team, but and that's a very classy response.
That's called keeping it classy.
Absolutely.
But I'm willing to bet you,
I'd be disappointed if I was left out.
I would love to hook her up to a lie detector test and some truth serum, because she'd be like, these jokers are targeting me. I'm getting treated wrong. I'm the golden goose. All of that would come out. Good thing we don't have that, because that'd be some great television, by the way.
But not for good reasons.
Right. I don't understand what is going on with the WNBA. The players, the organization, I think they're making bad decisions. This is this pivotal moment in the league, and I think they're failing. They should be protecting her a lot more, because people are tuning in to see her, giving her more of an opportunity to get on television. Her team is not good, ladies and gentlemen. Her team is not good. But know what is good? That Olympic team is good. Mm-hmm. Giving her a chance to go to the Olympics and shine for her country would be good. When you're playing, your first game is against Japan. No, she doesn't have to be a starter. She could be 6th, 7th, 8th man woman off the bench. But when you're playing games like against Japan, she's going to get time, because the U.S. is so much superior to Japan that there's going to be some playing time for her. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a mistake that they're not doing it, because there's a great opportunity to put her under a very positive light, get her to get out there, help lift up the game. And some of these players that haven't been as positive or embrace her as much, well, guess what? Some of these women, some of the biggest names in women's basketball are on that Olympic team. Guess what? Getting Caitlin there to get them to get to know her, meet her, make her realize, you know what, she's a good person. Maybe we shouldn't be targeting her. Maybe we should be appreciative that she's bringing so many eyes to the court, and maybe cut down on some of the jealousy, because right now I think there's a lot of jealousy and a lot of hating going on. And I know it's not popular. It's not popular to say that, and I'm sure people will be upset with me for saying it, but that's what I think. I'm not going to apologize about it. Caitlin is good for women's basketball, because there are a lot of women who are playing this game who deserves the attention, and she helps bring that spotlight to them.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I'm still looking forward to the Olympics, but this is it's a little disappointing.
And the whole thing about people talking about they're not going to watch because Caitlin's out there. I'm going to watch. I'm going to go, and I'm going to support the women no matter what, for the record.
Absolutely. All right. We're going to take our next break of this episode. When we come back, switching to some of our oddities segments. The first one is about a model interesting experience at Disneyland. I'm just going to leave it at that. You are tuned into the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports, and we will be right back.